Welcome to the Way We See It podcast.
where we talk about politics, social justice, and culture.
I'm Tati,
And I'm Ariana.
and we are your host of this podcast. Welcome back, everybody. This is the Way We See It podcast. We're here another Friday, another episode. This is episode what? 45?
45.
45.
We're about to reach 50. That's like,
Oh,
that's crazy.
I didn't even realize. I
Yeah.
know, like, our first 10 was like a milestone, but 50, like,
That's crazy.
that's more than 50 hours of content.
Yeah.
You see?
Mm-hmm.
And we were just looking at, like, our viewers and who's been watching our stuff. I just want to give you guys a shout out and say that I love you. Thank you for listening. I hope you guys are enjoying our podcast, our YouTube videos, whatever it is that you're watching or listening to. We appreciate your support because then it makes us feel like we're being listened to. And even though we're talking about, like, facts from things that we've done our research on like issues that we feel like matter, we're also talking about our own personal opinions and our stories and sharing, like, parts of our lives with you guys. So it definitely is meaningful.
Yes. We appreciate it because we put a lot of work into this. Because right now, Tati and I are both exhausted. I've been up since 4 in the morning since work. You've been up since 8 in the morning.
8 in the morning.
Drove all the way upstate today
From Manhattan.
to make it on time for a class. But we still here grinding.
Period. Don't want anybody to ever say that we don't do nothing for the podcast. We do everything for the podcast. Before we get into this week's episode, make sure you follow our socials. We're on Instagram and Twitter at The Way We See It with a C. And you can also find our website, which is in the bio of our socials. And yeah, if you're watching on YouTube, it's also at The Way We See It. Make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. And hit that bell button. That's what Ariel said last week. And I totally forgot about that. So make sure you do that too. And we'll see you every week. And yeah.
Now, before we get into today's topic, we want to address a couple things. So Tati did get her second dose, and she's gonna share how life's been since then.
Oh yeah, I've been glitching, guys. Like, I've been experiencing, like, the Matrix on a whole other level. Like, Ariana was capping when she got her second dose because I'm feeling some things. No, I'm kidding. But so I got the second dose, right, and I got it like 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and it wasn't until literally midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, right before I went to bed, that's when I started feeling like the symptoms. And me personally, I like to sleep in like just an oversized shirt and whatever. And once I changed into my oversized shirt, I was like, my back was breaking, like I was cold. It was like I was outside in a tank top and shorts outside during winter up here. And, you know, I'm anemic, so, like, how I felt in that moment is, like, how I felt. So I was freezing, and then once I stopped shaking so much, I started sweating a lot. I was like, I think I'm getting a fever. So once I was really warm, I ended up falling asleep, but throughout the night I was, like, in and out of sleep because I kept on getting cold at some times. And then I woke up. I fell asleep at like 1:30. I did not wake up until 2:30 p.m. the next day. Yeah,
that's a lot of sleep.
I did not sleep. I haven't slept for 12 hours like that for a very long time. That was a bit longer than 12 hours, so it was very long.
Something knocked you out.
Yo, and my back was hurting because I don't sleep for that long usually. So there was that, and I woke up very dehydrated, so I was trying to drink a lot of water throughout the day. And besides that, I was pretty much fine. I was just really tired, and I was sweating also. I still had like a small little fever. It was just like you sweating out your sickness. That's how I felt. So yeah, besides that, I've been pretty much fine. There's been moments where my arm has hurted and stuff, but besides that, that's pretty much it.
Okay. So not so bad. Everything went well.
But I do it again though. No.
That whatever that's called, what they call the if you get it the third time.
The booster shot.
The booster, yeah.
No, I'm not getting that. And then Ariana's gonna update you guys on the vaccine mandate that we also had talked about.
Yeah, we just want to give you guys a quick update so you guys know what's going on. So the vaccine mandate did go into effect for all healthcare workers, and unfortunately, people had to lose their jobs because they didn't want to get the vaccine.
It's been crazy.
And as well as teachers, the vaccine mandate went into effect last Friday, October 1st. And literally, if they didn't get the vaccine by that Friday, October 1st, they were off the payroll already this week, a month. Which is why I started working, because I'm a sub. So
I just realized that too, because beforehand, guys, me and Ariana were literally meeting every Friday, and she's like, I guess they don't need no subs right now. All the teachers are coming in. Mira.
Yeah.
Here she is.
So there's been teachers out and stuff because they don't want to get the vaccine, and there's a lot of openings for subs because there's a huge chunk of teachers that
it's calling my name.
So yeah. That's crazy. Honestly, it's sad that they have to lose their job. How are they gonna feed their family, pay rent, etc.? Then they're not gonna have any health benefits either. Like, they lose their insurance and all that.
My boyfriend's father was telling me yesterday how he just got his second dose of the vaccine yesterday. So he was asking me about my experience, and I haven't checked in on him today to see how he's been feeling, but how he didn't even want the vaccine, but he's the only one in the house that works. Like, he works for his whole family, for his wife and his 3 sons, and then he has his other daughter that lives in Florida. So it's like, he needs to work, and he has his benefits, and anybody that isn't vaccinated at his job needs to go. They're letting them go also. So it's like, he didn't want to, but he had to because this is his way of living. And it sucks that it's not just like teachers, and it's also crazy nurses and doctors that are experiencing this. But like, even people with just smaller jobs, like, I even asked my manager the other day, I was like, do you know if us workers in retail are gonna have to be mandated to have the vaccine or not? He's like, I don't know, I haven't heard anything yet, but like, all I know right now is that everybody, regardless if you're vaxxed or not, needs to wear a mask. Where some of them that are vaccinated, they do wear their masks, others they don't, but it's pretty much all they're doing right now. But it's still like crazy right now. Yeah, so sad.
Yeah,
hope everybody's staying safe. And then so getting into the topic. Yeah.
Well, today's topic is going to be interesting, but is a mix of like actual facts and our opinion. Basically, how we run usually every episode, but honestly, like, where has Biden been?
Yeah. And before any of you guys come for us, no. I don't know who's editing this week's video. If I'm editing it, I will put a clip right now of the episode when we did the Biden versus Trump episode for when they were during the election. And we were like, listen, just because we want Biden to win doesn't mean that we won't be on him about certain things. And this is one of those moments where we're gonna be talking about Biden and like what's going on with him. So basically, that's this week's topic: where has Biden been? And we're gonna talk about also like Biden in this aspect that we just mentioned briefly, but it's mainly also about media coverage. And like, we've talked about this before, and it just keeps on being a never-ending topic for us, I guess, because as we're doing research, you really see how limited like certain things are, and if you are digging deep enough, like, you will find certain things that you don't see in the news. So this is one of those moments where we're gonna get into that.
So like, why did we want to talk about this? I guess we kind of just briefly said that, but I just feel like personally I haven't been seeing Biden in the media, and I do get my news from like social media. I don't sit down to watch news. I used to do that.
I used to do that too.
But honestly, I don't have the time to sit down. So, but I just haven't. I don't know like what he up to, like what he doing, like what he doing at the White House. Like I don't know.
I knew more things when he first entered the White House.
Yeah.
But not so much anymore. I'm like, ¿dónde estás? Like, and I don't know if I mentioned this on the podcast or if it was just when you and I were having our conversation. But like that's how I felt too when I'm freaking seeing BTS, a Korean band, at the United Nations for like their meeting this year or whatever, and all these other countries are there, but not Biden. It's literally BTS is talking in the two seats where the president and the vice president are supposed to sit. It's like empty.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I'm like, what's going on here? So that's why I also wanted to get into this too, because I'm genuinely interested.
Yeah, so it's based on the research that we did, like overall, like media companies, viewers and like viewership have decreased overall. So according to Axios, an American news website, analyzed in monthly traffic months before and after Trump left office. So months before, including August 2020, January 2021, to February 2021 and May 2021. So after is obviously when Biden entered office. So these are just a few of the examples of what the statistics they found of how it decreased. So Mother Jones, which is like a far left media company, because
I was about to say, what the heck is Mother Jones?
Yeah, I've heard of that when I log into like my Robinhood for stocks, but I didn't know they were a news company.
Okay. For stocks. She's a businesswoman, y'all.
But yeah, that is like far left, and what I mean by far left is certain media companies or like news companies, like the way they portray news is either like conservative, like or right, or like in the middle. I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying though. Yeah.
So that decreased like 42.7%. Vox, which is left leaning, decreased 17.3%. Newsmax, which is far right, decreased 21.3%. Fox News, right leaning, decreased 22.3%. US Today, which is mainstream, decreased 11.8%. So whatever it was far left, whatever it was right leaning, or whatever it was mainstream, all these media companies have decreased their viewership or like readership if they're reading articles on their website, which is interesting.
Yeah.
So
because it's like nobody's watching the news anymore.
Like I don't know, like I guess the left leaning people. This is me just like theorizing. This is not me like from research. Yeah. I've gotten comfortable because Biden is a Democratic president and feel like he's gonna do everything good. And the right leaning people are like they don't like Biden. Yeah. So they don't want to hear what he got to say or whatever they have to say about him, because that's not the person they voted for, or they didn't vote or whatever.
Yeah. Or maybe just like I feel like a lot of the things with Biden right now, from the things that I have seen, is just surrounded around mandating the vaccine, whether it's for the soldiers or like for other states. So that's maybe it. Maybe they support it, maybe they don't support it. Maybe it's just like the same thing you see everywhere else about COVID-19 vaccine. So it's like, can we get something else, you know? And obviously these kinds of media outlets, like they're not trying to talk about famous people and what's going on in famous people's lives. Like that's not what they talk about. They talk about like what you said, political things, conservative things like that, mainstream. So it all depends, and maybe. Yeah. So yeah.
So I think it's either people got uncomfortable and then like they feel like they're having to tune in, or like they don't like the person who's in office now, and they'd rather see a Republican president.
Yeah. Well, although readership numbers have been plunging, breaking news stories have been highlighted due to slower political news cycle. The Biden administration is usually on the news discussing economics of the U.S., crisis at the border, but personality-based controversy has largely been absent, quote unquote.
Yeah. And I think people like the personality controversy.
Like, but explain that for the
Like,
people.
I felt like it made people more in tune. Like, what was going on in the White House, what that man was doing.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was, I guess it helped get attention.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, and he was like also on Twitter a lot, tweeting, you know, all types of stuff. So I think people like that controversy stuff because
they'd be like, oh,
they like that type of attention. They
he's
like
smoking.
They like to fuel it. They like to fuel the all the stuff that he did.
Yeah.
And it definitely like made, I don't know, for me, it made me more in tuned.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm, you know, like
I mean, yeah, it's like drawing us in. Like, you know what? You're right. We haven't seen him. What is he doing? Maybe he just got like, I don't know, like a little meme. Maybe he got a new basketball court and he's playing basketball like Barack Obama. Like, you know, maybe he's like doing something, you know, just chilling out. I don't know, like, but it makes you like intrigued on like what's going on. Like, so even though there's not that much coverage revolving around Biden, it's also bringing us in because we're like,
yeah,
what?
Yeah.
And then on top of that, now that numbers have been decreasing, there has been a growth in conservative podcasts over a year.
Yeah, since they
are we considered a conservative podcast? No.
I love that we said that the same time.
Yeah, right. We made the same face too. We're like,
No. You know, I guess they're just using that outlet since the news is not talking about what they want to hear, so they're just making their own outlets where in podcasts you can talk about whatever you want.
Well, I mean, yeah, because like I will say, like when Trump was president, I literally saw something about him every single day.
Yeah.
Whether it was about like sexual harassment, assault, dealing with fossil fuels and destroying the environment, how we have to save the environment, and just like not doing anything about real issues, and like being there for all races and nationalities and all that stuff. So it was like always something. There was always a problem with Trump. Like somewhere, somehow, whether he quote unquote did something good or quote unquote did something bad, there was always something with Trump. And now there's nothing for Biden.
Yeah.
So do you feel like you have been less engaged with the news compared to when the Trump administration was in office? That is a good question.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna say yes. I'm being honest.
I'm gonna be honest too. I'm gonna say yes too. Not because like I don't have anything to worry about, because I know there's a lot of shit going on in the world every day. Like I was at work. Like I personally get my news from Twitter. Like I get notified by the news on Twitter, which is actual factual news articles. And I got a notification the other day talking about how the school in Texas was on lockdown because there was a school shooting.
I heard that in the radio.
And I was like, already? I was like, it's October.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pandemic. People already have masks on in school, and now you're gonna...
Yeah.
Like, people are already just going back to school, and now you're gonna shoot them. So I was pissed off about that. But I will say, besides that, I don't really see that many, like... Politics.
Like they said earlier in the article, more like breaking news stories like the what's happened in Texas, unfortunately, has been highlighted more because that's what gets people attention.
Yeah, and it's just like I really haven't seen anything else. It's either just facts about COVID, that like the only thing political I guess that I saw was the United Nations like assembly that they had, and that's it really.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can admit I haven't really been
I haven't been
paying attention that much,
which I don't think it's a good thing.
It's not a good thing because one, we're not doing current events either this season, and two, we still have to come up with future topics. So now we're like,
well, I would say I am aware of like the breaking news about what's going on, you know, around the world with the abortion thing in Texas. Like I know, but in terms of like what is the Biden administration doing, Yo no sé nada.
That means I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, in Spanish. But yeah, I'm like really thinking about that too. Like, what if we were still doing our current events right now? Maybe we'd be struggling.
It would be more breaking news stories.
Yeah.
And less about whatever Biden's doing because.
Yo, you're right. Even today, wow, the pieces are coming together. Wow. Because I've been talking about it without even realizing that I've been talking about it. Like, I even told my friends today, they were telling me, oh, you're going to do your podcast? Like, I love that. I love that for you. That's so cute. I was like, thanks. And like my friend's sister asked me, what do we talk about? I said, we talk about politics and social issues usually. And like once a month we have a free talk where we just talk about whatever. But lately we haven't really been talking about that much politics. Like usually it's just been just social issues, like whether it's suicide or creating awareness towards something else, you know, like whatever. But it hasn't really been anything politics in a while.
Also, like last season when we were in season 2, it was during election time, and we know that time is always crazy.
Yeah, there was a lot of content out there for us last season. I feel like we had something like under our sleeves we had so many series last season too. We had the marijuana series. We had the Earth Month series. Yo, we had a lot.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Those 20 episodes went by quick. Anyways, so next subtopic. So how media coverage has been different during Trump versus Biden's administration period.
Yeah, so the Pew Research Center, which is like a pretty credible website that they do a lot of research for different things, conducted a study to compare news coverage during the early days of Trump's and Biden's administration. And here's what they found. So in Biden's first 60 days as president, news stories were framed around the new president's policy agenda and ideology, compared with 35% around character and leadership. And Trump for 60 days,
74% of all stories were oriented around his character and leadership, compared with only about 1/4, which is 26%, framed around his ideology and policy agenda.
It's like the opposite.
Yeah, literally the opposite.
And I wonder, like, who chooses what they want to present more about the president.
Oh, I'm telling you, it's like one of those things that you see in like you don't watch anything.
Oh, but tell the people.
I get so frustrated sometimes because I want you to know what I'm talking about, but then you don't. So the show That 70s Show, there's a character named Stephen Hyde. If you search him up on YouTube, you'll see him talking about it's the government, man. The controversies, like there's aliens, they're hiding everything. Da 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 da. Like talking like that, like basically sort of like Scooby Doo. That's how he talks. And it's like this, like there's somebody for every single thing or something. I don't know. This is where you really start coming up with controversies because it's like who controls this aspect?
Yeah.
Like it's not Biden and Trump for sure. I mean, maybe to an extent because it's their business, but I don't know. Like, they're media managers.
Yeah, they definitely have like media managers.
They do. They do though.
Okay.
For real.
Yeah, so that's an interesting thing, and also another significant finding. So while the negative Biden stories modestly outnumbered the positive ones, and this is the first 60 days. Negative stories about Trump exceeded positive ones by 4-1.
Well, duh. He's a rapist. And he's a sexual predator. So, of course, there was more things. And, you know, even Biden, he had his fair share of stories that were also negative that I've seen regarding, like, harassment and whatnot. But things with Trump exceeds that by far more. Not that it makes it better than the other, I'm not saying that whatsoever, but like still definitely can see why there's that statistic right there. So and then plus I feel like Biden definitely is favored a lot by our generation a lot more, depending on the area. But what's it called? So maybe that's why he also has a positive assessment compared to Trump, because I feel like a lot of people also from our generation really dislike Trump a lot, and that also affected a lot of the people that ended up voting last election. because they're like, oh, neither one is better than the other. I don't like any of them. But then there were some instances that happened during their debates where people were like, oh, I'm voting now because like what Trump said was so messed up and I can't deal with that. Like, I'll never forget my
Yo, I remember watching those debates, bro.
Yo, Ariana would keep me tuned in. She's like, "Did you see it?" I said, "I saw 10 minutes of it. I had to go be me." But what's it called? He said he wasn't planning to vote, but then when Trump mentioned Biden's dead son and everything,
yo, that was messed up. Man.
So messed up. I was like, nah, not during a debate. On top of that, either he shouldn't have done it in general, but still. That's what made my friend vote right there for Biden. He was like, that's just not something you play around with and be disrespectful to somebody about, because that's drugs also, you know? So, and people actually face that every day in America and worldwide, so it's a serious issue. But, yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, like, that example right there shows, like, his character, the type of person he is. Like, that's not cool. Like, if you want to lead a whole country, like, at least be nice to people, be respectful to people.
Yeah. Show that you're here for all people, not just one specific group.
You know, substance abuse is a problem here, all over the world. Like, you know.
So, like, like, not favoriting one specific group, and, like, drug overdoses is a big thing here in America, like, just drugs in general, crime rate, people that are obese, like, that's something also that he's called that on, like, whether he's talking about specifically women or men, like, what the things that he said about women's bodies and stuff,
that shit is insane.
And I'm not a feminist, but I also am just a little bit. But a lot of the things that Trump said, do not like. So, and the one thing I can admit that I did like about Biden, and I like this about anybody, is that if you can address your past mistakes and show that you've actually changed in a certain way, or show that you're trying to atone for those past mistakes. So, like, Biden, like, he shared, like, there was a point in his life where he didn't support something like abortions or, like, maybe women's rights or something like that. One of those two, probably abortions. But then after a while, I think once he married his second wife,
Joe?
Yeah, is when he realized, like, it's something that he ended up supporting. Like, he supports it now, and he believes it's a woman's body and a woman's choice, and, like, we shouldn't be making any decisions towards that, especially a group of men. So.
Yeah, what's going on in Texas then? Right?
Yeah, Texas, there's so many things going on right now. In Colorado, I saw a post. I don't know how true it is. This is just what I saw on Instagram, guys. Colorado, you cannot get an organ transplant if you are unvaccinated. Yeah. That's in Colorado. And in California...
Oh, yeah, you sent me that post about California.
The students K through 12, they can't go to school if they're unvaccinated.
No, you sent me something about California, like, they're not letting people coming from Ohio.
Oh, yeah, people from California, they're the only state. Anybody that lives in California and has family in Ohio can't go see them because of the laws regarding abortion. In Ohio, they don't support it, so they're like, anybody that wants to go there, you can't come back, basically. So it's like, damn, they're doing some new shit over there in California, so it's definitely very different than...
Yeah, I never heard of that, like, states closing in people from Ohio, so they can't never go to Cali, like...
They're like, I'm just trying to leave the middle state.
Like, the citizens weren't in charge of that, the citizens of Ohio...
Yeah, and then nobody from Cali can go to Ohio. They're like, yeah, no, we don't like them. You can't go there. So, yeah, and then that basically concludes, like, the stuff that we found about with, like, Biden and stuff in the media. But now we just want to share our opinions and stuff and, like, talk about how the media itself really alters our perspectives with a lot of the things that goes on in the world and just, like, in general.
And I already see, like, with this conversation, it's already affecting how we are podcasting from, like, the topics that we are doing this season, because there's not much, we haven't seen, like, much politics stuff to discuss.
Yeah. I mean, we pretty much, like, only discuss politics, like, mainly for our current events, more than anything besides for when we did our debate and everything, like who to vote for, da da da. But now it's like nothing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, we're obviously gonna still have topics, guys. Like, we're here forever, but it's just crazy. And then, it's not the first time this has like happened. Mm-hmm. So just right now, it just so happens to be politics, and I've seen a lot of mainstream stuff actually on my media regarding like abortion, women's rights. Like, they even had the Women's March early this year.
Yeah, I saw that.
I was offended.
My friend went. I was like, that was mad early. I thought it was like
it's late. A March every year in March.
But
is the Women's March.
Of the abortion stuff that's been going on.
They were like, we can't wait. We're doing it early this year. I was like, damn, nobody sent me the memo.
Yeah, I saw that.
I was like, damn, I really been wanting to go. And I was like, when I'm 20, I'm going to go. I was home.
Hopefully they have one in March, though.
Hopefully. But if it's in March, it has to be in New York, because the one they just had right now is in Washington.
DC,
yeah, so that's something I've been seeing a lot more about. Even like someone like Billie Eilish, she's been using her platform a lot to talk about women's bodies and abortions and all that stuff, because these mandates that they're doing for abortion right now is nuts. But yeah, those are just a lot of things I've been seeing. We've seen a lot of that also, like media coverage when it came to Black Lives Matter.
Yeah,
like George Floyd was not the first person to experience what he experienced. There was people before him, people before Eric Gardner. And it's just crazy that a lot of us didn't find out about the stories until either years later, or even so months later. Like, doesn't even matter. Like, it didn't even have to, it doesn't even matter that we learned about it eventually. It's the fact that it took that long for us to even find out. That's like, they were either hiding it, which they were, and it was just like, in some areas, it's just considered normal, and it shouldn't be normalized. A lot of the things that go on and are just pushed to the side. Yeah. So,
that's one thing I haven't been seeing, at least the news from my social media, police brutality. I've seen violence going on.
I haven't seen police brutality,
but I haven't seen like police brutality, and I know that stuff has stopped. I just don't know about it. It hasn't been mainstream like how it was last year.
Yeah, the last thing I've seen probably of police brutality was right before the podcast season 2 ended. Wow. You see, this is what I'm talking about, guys. Just like how all those other things in your life, after a while, they start to piece together. Like when you find out the tea about somebody. This is us right now with the world and the news and social media, and how everything really does play a role with one another. Because look, the only things probably going on your mind right now is work, what you're gonna eat, how much sleep you have, and just with whatever's going on in your social lives. Not so much what's going on out there, because it seems like there's nothing going on right now. This feels like we're safe, and then bam, they're gonna hit us.
And I was telling Tati before, we were trying to like figure out what we're gonna talk about today. Yeah. Just a few notes. I'm like, these companies, they have an agenda, and they fulfill their goals, their agenda that they want to impose us every single time.
Somehow, some way.
We don't even know it, and we're just manipulating.
Yeah. Right now, everything's surrounded around the vaccine, so that's all pretty much.
Yeah, that shit's taking over. You always see Dr. And when I go to the gym, all I see is Dr. Fauci when all the TVs they have.
Get the vaccine. I'm out eating today and everything with my friends. All I hear is a commercial come on, and it's like the COVID-19 vaccine. I was like, go away! Like, you're everywhere. Like, please. Emails from my school's dean. The vaccine. We all have the vaccine now, sir. You don't have to email us.
Everybody on the campus. Had to the vaccine, or else they had to drop out.
Exactly. And that's another thing actually I wanted to mention too real quick. It doesn't have to do anything with this episode, but we're doing well on time. Religious exemption. I feel like it doesn't mean shit besides for anybody besides what are they? They're not Jews.
Oh my god.
Starts with an H.
Oh my.
I don't know why the words heretics and hibiscus is coming to mind, but that is not what they're called. Hasidics.
Hibiscus.
That's your comedy for this week's episode, guys. Hibiscus. What is it? Hasidics?
Hasidics.
Yeah, Hasidics are like the only people right now in America that are able to get away with like real religious exemption because they have their own businesses, they have their own hospitals. Like, I don't know if you've ever been in the city and you've ever seen like those yellow ambulances. Those are specifically for Hasidics and like Jews and whatever. So if they don't require people to the vaccine and all that stuff, they're chilling.
I know somebody who's not Hasidic and they use a religious exemption to stay in school.
And it let them?
They got approved.
My school's not doing that.
That's crazy.
I mean, they're like, okay, you could get religious exemption, that's fine, but the only people we're allowing on campus is vaccinated students. So, it doesn't matter. So that's what I find crazy. So I feel like the religious exemption has its pros, but it also has its cons because it's like, where's that getting you? It's getting you nowhere at the same time. Besides, yeah, you're not getting the vaccine, which I'm not supporting it or whatever. But it's also like you're safe, but you're still limited to the things that unvaccinated people still can't access. You know, even if you're exempted, it's like you still can't do anything. So sucks. Yeah. But do you have anything else to say?
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I feel like this was a good rant to end the night. I'm so tired, but yeah, guys, I hope you enjoy this episode. It was very different from what we're like used to, but our main goal with this episode, I'm gonna say what I said earlier, is that, you know what, sometimes we really don't have to have everything like research and built in, because if you have our website, we have our resources page where you can see our documents and see the stuff that we find and the links also. So if you want to do like the research also and read the things that we read, you could find it there. But like sometimes we don't always have to do that. Sometimes we just generally want to share our opinions. And you know what? Who are we asking for permission? This is our podcast, Tatiana and Ariana.
The way we see it.
The way we see it with the C. I see you, you see me. That's it. That's all. So, yeah, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this. And I think that's it for now. So, we'll see you guys next week. Peace.
Peace.